What's up, everybody? This is John with the Unpaid Gamers and another car thoughts video. It's been a few days since I've done one of these, so thought I'd get one going here today. It's been a rough morning, by the way, for lots of dumb reasons, but I was trying to get up and out, and it's just, I don't know, the moment I opened my eyes, bullshit. But anyway, all that's behind me, I think, hopefully, for now, for today, whatever. And hopefully the day gets much better. Although I have to install a server today, so we'll see how that goes. I'm thinking maybe it won't be that bad, but you never know. So, been another in the Mustang again today, so we got another one of those. So I know it's a little bit louder, but I think you can hear me okay. Today I wanted to talk about Gotham Knights. It's making all the headlines lately for some dumb reasons, I think. Just my temperature here. Yeah, so, you know, last week there was a headline about Gotham Knights only running at 30 frames a second. Everybody's freaking losing their noodle about it, making a big deal over nothing. You know, I hear a lot of, it's 2022, almost 2023, and we're still dealing with 30 frames a second. First off, the year, go fuck yourself, because it means jack shit. It's 2022, I mean, so what? 2022. Technology's where it's at. These games and development cycles are where they're at. The year makes no difference whatsoever. 2022 means there's a lot of fucking idiots out in the world. That's what that means. So, you know, I hear a lot of that. I hear a lot about, you know, anything other than 60 frames a second is unacceptable with these next generation consoles. And, yeah, you know, apparently not. Because all kinds of games are having that issue. And, you know, we're usually given the option of 60 frames a second or like a higher resolution, high fidelity mode. But, you know, some games don't do that still. And this is going to be one that doesn't do that. And, like, people get hung up on that for whatever reason. You know, 60 frames a second is super nice. You know, we really kind of first started seeing it back in Xbox 360. So, like, you know, I feel that it requires pretty good optimization. And, you know, I know there was a lot of games that were doing it back then. One of the major ones that really kind of hit that mark that was impressive in a lot of other ways was Rage. The very first Rage back on like 360 and stuff. And but you know, like, John Carmack is a guru of a programmer, and the tech they used for that was pretty revolutionary in the fact that you could load a lot of crazy assets, and like it would almost kind of generate these worlds for you and like use up hardly any resources. So, you know, they were able to get that optimization going. And there were plenty of other games that did it too, and it's increasingly you know, a thing moving forward, you know, past that when we got into PS4 and stuff. Think about that. The first Rage, that was Xbox 360, right? Pretty sure. Anyway, you know, all throughout the PS4 generation, 60 frames, a lot of games hit that mark. And I'm really not, like, defending laziness with studios or carelessness with optimization or whatever, but, you know, not every game is created equal, and not every developer is created equal. And the frames per second mark is only one aspect of the game. And with this Gotham Knights, for instance, they put it out there before the game was released, right? And it's late in the development, but like that's when the optimization happens, is towards the end of the development. So like, it makes perfect sense to me that they would. I mention it every time, but I'm on the bumpiest freaking highway in the city. That bad stretch right there. But optimization happens so late in the stage of development. They probably just now realized that they can only hit that mark, to be honest, or not too long ago. Let's keep working. Let's keep seeing if we can do, and then it's just not happening. And above all else, they put this announcement out there like before the game's released, and that makes it okay with me for the most part. I mean, you're telling people up front something that may or may not be an expectation. 3 weeks or so, 2-3 weeks before launch, that hey, this is where it's at. That seems fair to me. We've seen that kind of bait and switch with a lot of these newer games coming out lately. I hate to use it as that bad example, but a cyberpunk situation, right? And not that, and I don't even mean that like any specific issues with them and the shit on that, but like it, regardless of your feelings about cyberpunk and its launch, like it left a lot of gamers with a bad taste in their mouth, right? So like the way that was handled and released, there were some issues there. So to me, if you're saying something before the game's out, that hey, this is where it's at, okay, thanks, it's all good. Like if that's a deal breaker for you, a big thing, like just don't buy it, because ahead of time now that's where it's going to be. And they stated their reasons, like because they have co-op so heavily ingrained in the whole experience. It's kind of just drop in, drop out kind of stuff. The super large version of Gotham City we're getting, I think it's supposed to be the biggest Gotham City to date, and shit like that. But still, again, like the FPS is like one aspect of the experience, and I feel that game is going to have so much to offer other than that. And it would have been nice if they hit that mark, but they could potentially just patch it in the future with somehow get that further optimization and stuff. But at launch, that's what we're getting, and the gameplay I've seen seems fun. You won't know till you really check it out. But obviously, it's a heavy, intensive game because they ditched the older consoles, and it's just this next gen only, and they're still only getting that. So, there's reasons for it, right? And some of those reasons, I'm sure we won't understand because we're not freaking developers, don't know what the fuck we're talking about, really. That's all you internet geniuses out there. There's a lot of reasons like that. And then too, like it or not, we're still suffering from effects of COVID, supply chain issues, like stuff like that. And who knows if that had anything to do with the development along the way. I'm sure it did at some point, because they take multiple years. So I think some of the games still suffer from some of that. And then too, like I've heard, it's an Arkham game, so there's high expectations, and like, okay, but keep in mind though, it's not Rocksteady who's developing it. It's Warner Brothers Montreal, which did Arkham Origins, and a lot of people love that game. A lot of people think it's great. Super cool what they did with it. don't mean anything bad about it at all, but like that's different than the Arkham trilogy, right? Like they're not created equal, those experiences. I believe it seems like I remember hearing Arkham Origins have quite a few bugs and stuff like that in it. And that often happens when when there's another studio that kind of jumps in and does like a spin-off game, or like a, kind of uses that engine, but like they didn't build it, so, or they didn't, spend years working with it, so it's gonna not be as solid. Like it like reminds me of like a city that's Fallout New Vegas or whatever. Fallout New Vegas, that's the name of it, right? Great game. A lot of people love that game, but a lot of people complained about its bugginess and issues and stuff like that. And like, Skyrim and Fallout and stuff was like Fallout 3 and 4 and stuff, like they were great games as well, but it was like that was their creation engine, so then like you outsource that to another studio, they're not going to be as equipped working with it. And I'm not saying that's the case with this Gotham Knights necessarily. I don't even really know what engine they're using, but those are things to kind of think about when you think of like these kind of like other studios doing these kind of one-off games like that. I think it's cool to have, I mean, I like additional games in those universes, so I don't care that happens at all. Again, with Gotham Knights, I'm not even sure what engine they use, but it could be a heavily modified version of the previous Arkham engine and stuff. I don't really know. But keep in mind, it is Warner Brothers Montreal doing it. It's not Rocksteady. Not that that's really an excuse. I mean, studios need to give their best effort, but like maybe that is their best effort. Maybe that's all they can deliver. And if they deliver a compelling game with great gameplay and a great story, not every game has to be freaking 60 frames a second. I don't care that it's 2022. I think obviously with the big budget games and stuff, we're only able to hit one or the other, right? High fidelity or performance mode. So there's obviously some levels of optimization that are still a little difficult, I feel, to reach those marks. We could do one or the other, can't do both most of the time. A couple games have, but again, these games are not created equal. Some games you have a big expansive world or super technical, whatever, you just can't do both. So I feel like we won't really see that standard until the next generation, and maybe like a PS5 Pro, maybe a Xbox Series Pro, whatever they do. It may not be a full generation ahead, but that's kind of what happened the previous, right? Like we had our launch PS4s or Xbox Ones, and they did the PS4 Pro, and it could on average hit higher resolutions with the gameplay. So that happened. And these new generations came out, and like, oh, it's exciting because games are going to be hitting native 4K and 60 FPS and stuff, and then we see that breakdown of, well, you can have one or the other. That's all we can kind of do, even though they're pretty powerful consoles. So like that's what we got. And again, I don't think we'll really see that as a standard until kind of the next step. So I feel like, I wonder what I did see an article just yesterday that the PS5 Pro development kits have hit studios, and I wonder what the expectation is there with that. Are we going to start seeing, like, it's going to be a blend of again, like generations. It's going to be the same games as the PS5 standard, because I think that's how you got to do it. without leaving your consumer base angry. But I feel like it's going to be much like the PS4 Pro scenario. It's going to be the same games for both, but some enhancements on the Pro end. And I really think what they'll probably do is, right now we have to be able to choose. It's going to be up to the developers, of course, how they use that extra power. But right now we have to choose between fidelity and performance, and I feel like maybe with a Pro we'll see to where you can have both. You can have that native 4K and 60 frames a second on some titles, and then maybe we'll start seeing that being the standard of 60 frames a second. But we're just not there yet. People want it to be there. We're not there. It's not the PC market. The PC will always be technically superior. You can say what you want about that debate. All the PC elitists out there, they're going to say what they say, but the reality is the PCs are going to be technically superior, and I personally like the console experience better. That's a personal choice, personal taste between everybody. I just like sitting on my couch and chilling out and not have to worry about PC type of issues when I'm not working. And I think that comes from being an IT guy. I just like that hands on the controller console experience. I know I can route my PC to my TV and use an Xbox controller, shit like that. I mean, that's not a big technical feat. I have all the stuff. I have a gaming PC. I have, and I didn't get a gaming PC for gaming, really. I got it really for other reasons. But, I can play anything on the market. Again, I'm a tech guy, so I have all the stuff there. Cables to run to my TV, adapters, whatever, Xbox as well as PlayStation, so I have Xbox controllers laying around I can use. Like, I have all the stuff. It's not a lack of, ability or resources to make that happen. I still just don't like that experience as much. I've done it with a couple games that I just really wanted to play on that level, and I didn't want to sit at my computer and play it. I want to just relax on the couch and stuff. I've done it before. It's just not my favorite. I just prefer the ease of the console experience, and whatever limitations that brings for me, I'm totally fine with. So that's me. Other people feel different, I'm sure, but because of that, you really deal with what experiences the consoles provide, and right now there's still those limitations. Still great games. I think when you hear the chatter about not 60 frames a second or not native 4K, what the fuck ever. Like, if it's important to you, then don't buy it, of course. But like, really, it's not that big of a deal, and there's plenty of enjoyment to be had with games out there not hitting those marks. I think it's kind of stupid, to be honest, and it reminds me of like when like new TVs come out or whatever, and they throw around the marketing terms of stuff like back when it was is this 720p or is this 1080p, and you had a bunch of fucking idiots going into Walmart being like 720p, 1080p 1080p, that's what it's got to be, 1080p. They don't even know what it means. They just hear it a lot and say it. And sure, there's a difference between 720p and 1080p, but really, for your average person, if you're not a videophile and shit like that, like, you're probably not even gonna notice. You're still in the HD realm of things, and then like 4K and 8K, and it's the same type of just stuff, like marketing terms that get thrown out. And when you have the perfect storm technology wise, 8K, Dolby Vision, whatever, it looks great and it's really noticeable. But like, you got to have all the components first off. The right TV, the right input, output on your devices, the source material is the other part. And a lot of people don't even have that. So, you know, if you do have that, I mean, that's cool. I do, and it's still not a big deal to me. Some things, you know, some things I like getting that experience out of, but it's like when I want that experience, right? Like, there's always been great showcase titles, whether we're talking about movies or games or whatever. But like, to expect every game to meet those marks is not realistic. So, you know, my advice is just to chill out, enjoy games for what they are, check them out before you buy them. Always, you should do that anyway. You know, I applaud Warner Brothers Montreal for coming out before the game's released and saying, "Hey, this is what FPS we're dealing with. Here's why." You know what you're spending your money on for the most part. You know, then it comes down to just taking the gamble on the game itself. Is it going to be something you're into or not? So, really gets on my nerves. I encourage everybody not to get caught up in the marketing jargon and just dumb, unimportant shit like that. And just look at the game for what it is. Look at it for its own experience, and see if it's what you want, if it's what's good for you. And if not, skip it, or borrow it, or rent it, or whatever. I don't know, can you even rent games anymore? But, you know, in the streaming world we're in, you can stream any game usually a day or two before it's out in its entirety. Somebody's leaking that shit. And if not, you know, you don't have to get it the second it's available. Give it some time. Check out some reviews. Check out some videos. See how it plays. See how it looks. Does it look good to you? Make your own decision. Don't just jump on the hype train. And that goes for a lot of different topics, but it's a big pet peeve of mine. So, again, I don't think that news is a big deal at all. I applaud them for saying something before it came out, and that's my take on it. So, if you feel differently, that's all cool. No big deal. That's my opinion. You talk about in the comments or not, nobody ever does. So, I don't know. I guess nobody feels that strongly about it. But I've heard plenty of stuff out there in the toxic social media gaming community that we're unfortunately a part of. So I know there's feelings out there, but anyway, comment or not. Anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for tuning in. We're still in the middle of the spooktacular Halloween stuff, so Tom's streaming most nights horror games. I've streamed a couple titles lately. I'm not really going to get into talking about them too much right now. I'll probably do another car thoughts, just talking about some of the games that I've been streaming and my impressions of that stuff. First time really ever playing State of Decay 2, so I streamed some of that. I streamed the new Scorn, streamed a couple hours of it. So again, I'll probably do another video talking about those and anything else I stream in the meantime, and my take on those. But that's it for this car thoughts. So thanks for tuning in again, and until next time, see you.